The suspect in the case of Navy sailor Angelina Resendiz has been identified. Let's dig into some new information. So if you've been following along, you know Angelina Resendiz was a 21-year-old culinary specialist stationed at Naval Station Norfolk. She was last seen alive on May 29th, and her body was later discovered on June 9th near the base. And although authorities announced detaining a sailor in connection with her death, until recently, the suspect's identity was kept under wraps. But in a significant development, the suspect's name has finally been revealed. Attorney Marshall Griffin, who represents Angelina's mother, Esmeralda Castle, announced that Jeremiah Copeland, another sailor assigned to the USS James E. Williams, the same ship as Resendiz, is the person being held on suspicion in this case. That revelation came after an initial review officer's hearing, or an IRO, at the Naval Consolidated Brig in Chesapeake, where the Navy confirmed Copeland's detention. Now, as far as the legal process so far, Copeland remains in pretrial confinement, and that's not likely to change anytime soon, based on information provided by Attorney Griffin. These IRO hearings, they're meant to determine whether the government has enough evidence to keep a suspect locked up while the investigation continues. Griffin, who wasn't actually present at the hearing, told reporters that at this stage, authorities are considering factors such as flight risk, the risk of further misconduct, and the strength of the evidence. But he also made clear that the government doesn't have to have the final charge sheet ready during these early proceedings. And to his knowledge, the charge sheet has not been finalized. Meanwhile, Angelina Resendiz remains have been returned home to Texas. On June 20th, her body arrived at Valley International Airport in Harlingen, Texas, where she was received with full military honors. The lady you see in the white dress in these clips, that is her mother, Esmeralda Castle, who lives in Texas. Let's turn to Castle and her ongoing concerns about this case. From the very beginning, Castle has been vocal about her frustration with how the Navy has handled her daughter's disappearance. She's criticized the lack of official notification and says she learned about Angelina's status through friends and media, not from the military itself. Castle has also spoken out about what she calls a lack of urgency and transparency in the investigation. One largely understated and frankly concerning issue is a timeline of events Castle laid out in a News Nation interview, which, if true, would mean that a naval officer outright lied to her about her daughter's disappearance. According to Castle, on Thursday, May 29th, which is the day her daughter went missing, Resendiz's friend called her just after 8 p.m. and said Resendiz had called him to come pick her up. But when he arrived, she wasn't there. Castle said the friend called the chief and called her as well, the mother, and told her to call the quarterdeck to find out what was going on, suggesting that this friend had real cause for concern at that point. According to Castle, when she called, a Chief Anderson immediately knew who she was calling about and told her Resendiz had been in another room and that the report of her being missing was just over-dramatized. Here's Castle.
So I do, and I call and I speak to a Chief Anderson, and I ask him, hey, what's going on with my daughter, Angelina Resendiz? And he already knew who I was talking about. He told me that we found her. She was just in another room. It was a little, the report was a little more dramatized or dramatic, than necessary. She's, and so I asked him to have her call me.
That audio sums up just one of the many reasons why Esmeralda Castle is demanding full transparency in her daughter's case. Based on the details she shared, not only did the Navy appear to drag its feet at times in searching for her daughter, but to have a point where she was told her daughter had been found, only to learn later that that was not true. And how did she learn that? because she continued to try to contact her daughter, didn't get a response, and the following day, Friday, she called Chief Parker, who her daughter worked under, who said Resendiz didn't report to work, but he told her mother he had seen Resendiz the night before. Castle said Chief Parker told her he also saw who Resendiz was with, and he told her to make sure she reports the following day for work. Castle's message is and has been clear that her daughter's life mattered. She stated that she plans to continue fighting and doing whatever needs to be done to get answers about her daughter. Transparency, she says, is a must. As this case moves forward, I'll continue to keep you updated on developments, including what charges, if any, are ultimately filed against Jeremiah Copeland. Until the next report, stay informed and stay safe.